everyone. Welcome back to another episode of 6 Degrees of Associations. I'm your host, Lucas McCann. With me today, we have Jackie Price Osafo, Executive Director of the Society of American Archivists. Did I get it right?
Perfect.
Excellent. Well, Jackie, I will turn the mic over to you to start. If you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what's going on.
Well, thank you, Lucas, for having me, first of all. Once again, I am Jacqualine Price Osafo. I am the Executive Director for the Society of American Archivists, and we are located right in Chicago, so downtown Chicago. We are the professional organization for archivists. Most folks ask me, what does an archivist do? I always put it plain and simple. You can never lose a picture on your phone because there's an archivist behind that technology and behind whoever your provider is who is preserving that. Archivists are the folks who sit in the space of preserving history as it happened. Not as we wish it would happen, but as it happened. And that's for the safety of democracy and civil liberties. So we believe in protecting, again, history as it happened and ensuring that folks understand and feel that experience. So that's what an archivist does in short.
Well said. I looked it up a little bit, both the pronunciation and the industry a little bit, and I was fascinated. I took my team last year to the National Archives as our team building event when they came to DC, because my team is distributed workforce and they come from all over the country, and we come here and we do fun stuff. And I was blown away, right, by what the industry has become and what the industry is, and just them talking about the sheer numbers of things that are being archived. And just the acceleration that's happened with digital. And I even heard something maybe 8 or 10 years ago at this point that was about photography, right? And the archiving and how many photographs are being taken. And it was something like more photographs are being taken in the world in 5 minutes than were taken in the entirety of history before the year 1980 or something like that. I mean, I probably got that wrong, but the context of that blew me away. And so it must be an interesting time in the industry.
It is definitely an interesting time, Lucas, especially as we are in this phase of looking at what's going on, what we call the President of Records Act. And what is the PRA? The President of Records Act simply states that the documents, if you work for the people, the documents belong to the people, the documents should remain with the people. And as you can see, a few of our presidents have taken documents, and probably not on purpose, from the White House to their homes. There's a collection of that sort of going on right now for folks to get those records back to NARA, the National Archive Records Administration. So, and thank you for visiting NARA. You're the first non-SAA or non-archivist person who said that I visited NARA in DC. So they'd be super excited to hear that the general public is beginning to understand why we sit in this space and the importance of archiving records.
Yeah. Well, this year we did the Library of Congress. So there seems to be a growing theme because they're also an archivist, I would assume, of sorts. And there's a lot of our history there, a lot of important documents and art and things collected there. So I think that's just become part of our team culture. We'll see.
Well, I love the idea when folks sit in a space of absorbing information. And I'll just share my story in terms of how I got here in this space. I was that kid who went to the library, and my parents would tell me, I'm like, I'm bored. And they were like, go to the library. And it was probably like 5 blocks from my house.
Yeah.
But I was always intrigued by the person who sat back in that sort of corner and dark space. And that person was probably an archivist. And I always wanted, what's back there? I want to get back there, and I want to get whatever information that they have back there. So even as a child, I was very curious and very intrigued by information, and landing this job and working this space was just perfect for the place that I had grew up in. So I'm super excited about continuing to represent a profession that absorbs and sits in the space that I like. Information.
There's a lot out there.
Yes.
I'm a little jealous. I wish I was that kid now. Looking back, if I could have done it over again, I would have been that kid. I didn't learn to be that kid until I went off to school and had to become that kid, or I would have flunked out miserably. I did my best job, but there's a lot to be said. And I encourage my kids to do the same thing. I have one that's very much a bookworm. You know, we'll go and meet a few people and then needs to retreat to his room. And so the value of what you all do and the importance of it is profound. I had mentioned before we got on, I found a quote of you saying, "I'm in the space I was born to be in." And I thought that was fantastic. And I wanted to ask you, and was that associations? Was that specifically the association, or did that just mean you in your greater being and where you are in life?
All of the above. And I'll start off with association. I've spent my entire professional career working for associations. My background is in early childhood education. I was actually supposed to be a teacher, but I do feel like I'm in a teaching space because I do step out of this space as an executive director and do some type of teaching and group facilitation. So I'm using those skills on a daily basis. But the association community is a place that I was born to be in. And I simply walked in this space while working for a bank, second shift, and a friend of mine was working as a receptionist for an association, the Emergency Nurses Association, and they needed someone to stuff envelopes.
Yeah,
said, sure,
we've all been there.
Yeah, we've all had to do that.
It's part of the industry. At least it was 15 years ago.
And I came in and I stuffed envelopes, and my natural curiosity was, okay, so what am I putting in these envelopes? And I started to read what I was doing and became intrigued, and a job opened. I quickly applied for it. And, that's where the story began. So I say to folks that I began from the bottom up. I truly began in this profession from the bottom up. So I am in the space that I was born to be in. Lucas, for me, associations make the world quietly a better place. And the general public doesn't understand what an association does. So when I tell folks what I do, even my family, when I was working for the Water Quality Association, they decided, that sounds like a radio station. So now you're working for a radio station.
Were they surprised?
No, they weren't surprised if I was working for a radio station. But associations are the folks who move legislation forward. So if we look at it from an advocacy perspective, if we look at from simply the water treatment perspective, who decides or how did we come up with what amount of lead should be allowed in drinking water in schools for kids? Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's research done by an association. When we decide on what is the age level in which folks should get a colonoscopy, that's research done by the American Society for Gastrointestinal Endoscopy. So here's where the sun shines on everyone, where no one knows who's really turning the light on. It's the association who's doing that.
That's good. It's so true. So early child education piece. I'm married to a 18-year teacher veteran who's fifth grade early education. I also kind of cut my teeth at the bottom. I was calling members, selling, promoting, creating awareness around member benefit programs, affinity programs. And so I was just directly speaking to members. And when I wasn't doing that, I was doing those stuffing parties, as we called them too, right? Sending mailers out to people about programs that they had access to and sending them gifts and doing all that. And I've now, 2 decades later, I'm still in the industry as well, right? I can't leave. And I look at it, I love it, that changing the world, it's true. Silently, sometimes yes. Silently, sometimes no. I like to think of the association, at least for lobbying purposes, as a megaphone, right? There's a lot of input that comes in, and they can be the voice to the industry, and the right team for an association, I think, can really do just what you said, change the world. Outside of that, because I think that's alone just a really cool notion that we could change the world in small teams usually, right? We say a big association is still a small business. What else is it about the industry that keeps you coming back, right?
It's the community. I am part of multiple different groups. I'm part of a few CEO networks. I am also a part of ASAE's Diversity Executive Leadership Program. In short, it's called the DELP program. And the DELP program was designed for folks underpopulated folks to learn and to grow better as leaders in the association community. So I have this huge network of folks who started off as friends, so colleagues, and now have become family members. I say that I talk to an association person on a daily basis, and not just for work. And we're talking friendships. We're talking folks who have crossed over and become family members. So I've extended my network beyond my immediate family, beyond friends from high school, from graduate school to the association community. And I love that I have this diverse group of folks that I can call on, that I can, if I'm in DC, I can go and sleep on their couch or go sleep in their guest bedroom and go and visit anyone, almost any place in the United States. And it's an association person. So that for me is icing on the cake.
Yeah.
have this amazing job, and then you have the icing on the cake. And the icing on the cake, that's the people part.
Yeah. About 2 weeks after the ASE annual meeting is usually when I start to get excited about the next annual meeting, right? I always refer to that internally as, hey, we're going to the Super Bowl, right? Because you get to see everybody, everybody's there, everybody gets energized, and you just kind of ride this meeting high for months after. And then again, I start to get jazzed up for this one. I know you've gone to probably a couple of those, and that's one of the things that I'm really excited about this year is coming up to that. Because again, for that community piece, what are some other things that you're excited about this year, Jackie?
I'm also excited about ASAE. I'm speaking, Lucas. I'm doing one of the, I forget one of the sort of like fast sessions. I can't even think of the name of it. Ignite session.
Okay.
And my Ignite session will focus on the non-traditional CEO, executive director. It's my story. And I will talk about it from an inclusion perspective because the times have shifted. We no longer look like who we used to be. We are very diverse and very interesting folks. And as we consider inclusion, we need to look at the fact that we look very different, we behave different, but on the inside, we're all the same. So my presentation will focus on the fact that I'm a non-traditional executive director. I have probably about 20 tattoos, my body art, which I really enjoy and love in terms of how I express myself. I have an interesting taste in music. I like almost anything from country, western, classic, crazy rap, love songs, all of that. I love all kinds of music. And on top of all that stuff, you may see me, I might take this hair and cut it off. It depends on how I feel tomorrow. But I also have an MBA, and I am great at what I do. I am strategic, I'm a facilitator, and I am an amazing leader. And I say that about myself, not with arrogance, but with confidence, because I have learned over time that we have to have that confidence in ourselves. And I will talk about all those aspects of myself and share the stories related to my interesting body work, because every single one of them have a story. They're just not randomly placed in places, but they all have stories and meaning to them. So
well, sometime after this show, Jackie, we need to hang out because I also love all types of music. I can get down with country and rap. In a couple of weeks, I'm going down to the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival. I try to get that every year. I had an 8-year streak running before COVID hit, and then I had to take a break for some personal stuff, and now I'm back on the horse. So I'm really excited about that. And then the body art, I'd love to hear every story. So we do need to hang out. And I agree that the landscape has changed, and the diversity and inclusion is changing things for the better. And I couldn't be more excited about that. The different perspective of being a CEO in this industry, I think, was probably a long time coming, and I think that's fantastic. I saw the MBA piece when I was looking some things up, and what was your MBA in? And I'd love to hear how you may have used some of that MBA in our industry.
Well, I'll back the train up just a little bit, Lucas. I decided to go back to get an MBA at age 50. Yes. So
anytime. Come on.
Anytime. So that to me was the power of what the brain can do. So I am definitely not that person that I can't do anything. I'm completely opposite in that I can do anything that I decide to do. And I say to folks, you just need to decide and start taking that train. So I decided to go back to University of Illinois in Champaign-Urbana. The great thing was I did an online MBA, and folks at that time were snubbing their nose about doing an online MBA, but not knowing that we were ahead of the curve in terms of bringing online education into our homes, into our office. And what was amazing about that is that I shared that experience with people from all over the world. So I had people in my class, in my cohort, in my groups from Dubai to Africa, to Asia, all over the world. And it was just an amazing experience. What have I done with that MBA? It is something that I use on a daily basis. We look at leadership. I was already a process management person. So I am probably the person that's going to look at something quickly and say, okay, does it really take that long to do that? And if we back that out, what is the ROI on that? What is the investment? What is the return on that? And I can do that swiftly as opposed to how I did it before. So my brain is probably moving faster than your average 50-something-year-old person because I have learned to do that very quickly. And with that MBA, I decided to join the board. So I am also on my alums board, Geese College. I also sit on the Association Forum board because I vote with my feet. Change
there you go.
When we stand up and we do something about it. Just talking about it doesn't make it happen. You have to get in the room. You have to have a seat and a voice at the table. So, and I
Absolutely.
do that by volunteering to serve on different boards and to support other programs.
That's fantastic. I mean, the get up and go there mentality, that entrepreneurial spirit, I feel like is something I've been preaching our industry could use more and more of. This notion that we're always a decade behind, in some aspects, right? There are some aspects we want to be more like a big business. In other aspects, maybe not. I mean, are there, in your current role or in previous roles, where have you looked to sort of put some of that entrepreneurial spirit into action?
And everything that I do, I look at my job as a business. So yes, we're a nonprofit. The only difference between a nonprofit and a for-profit, in my opinion, is that how we disperse our revenues. So we put it back into the associations for profits. It's handed out to their shareholders and stockholders. But at the end of the day, we're about running a business.
Yeah.
So I'm in budget planning process. So I actually just stepped out of my budget meeting. So we're working on our FY 2024 budget right now as we speak. So I'm sitting in budget meetings and looking at programs for the next year, looking at how we can improve. One big thing on staff retention. The Great Resignation is killing us, Lucas.
It's a hot topic. I can feel it myself. I'm telling you.
It's killing us.
People just move like that.
Exactly. I've been at SAA for 2 years, and I would say out of the 2 years that I've been here, we've been fully staffed, maybe somewhere between 5 and 8, maybe at some point 10% of the time.
Yeah.
Right now, we have an open position. And what do I look at that from my graduate school, from who can I use or call back from the association community? I mean, all of that is playing into how I hire and how I position this next position and how I encourage my staff to do the same thing. I'm a lifelong learner. I just took the Gallup Strength Finder, and I wasn't surprised to find that I was a learner. Like, that did not surprise me.
Born in the library, going back to the MBA at 50. I mean, come on.
Having parents who bought those Encyclopedia Britannica, like, I don't know how.
Oh, yeah. Door to door. They were sitting there. There was always every copy but one, and you never know where it was. Yeah.
Exactly. We're getting from A to Z. Like, all right, we've made it. We've got from A to F. Like, when are we going to get G? Like, how soon is it going to take us to get
G? Oh, G. Oh, that's so true. Goodness. Well, what switching gears, I wanted to ask you. You've been with this in the associate industry how long? 30. I think I heard you say 30 years.
So my entire professional career, I would say I started something probably I would say 30 something years.
So this question, may take a second, or maybe you just know the answer already. I love to hear, in your career, you look back, what is that work that you're just most proud of, right? You look at that and you go, that was authentically Jackie. That was my best work. I loved what the impact that had. And that's one of those things that just stands out to you.
I would say I'm most proud of bringing people along. I am so excited about this community. And in that excitement, whenever I meet someone new, I'm like, have you joined the association forum? Have you joined ASAE? Have you taken advantage of this member benefit? Are you networking with these folks? Let me introduce you to someone, which is another one of my strength finders, being a connected person, because I believe in connecting and building those relationships. So what am I most excited about? I'm most excited about bringing other folks along the journey with me. So many people. I can't even name the folks who have been there for me, who have pushed and pulled me as I took this journey myself. And giving back is the thing that I'm most proud of. How do I do the same thing for someone else? When I do presentations, when I walk into a room, someone says, hey, I want to talk to you. I immediately give them my cell phone number. I say, here's my cell phone number. It's up to you to use it. It's up to you to use it. If you want something from me, if you want me to connect you with someone, if you want to chat with me, call me. And if you never use it, that's fine. If you use it 50 times, that's fine. I mean, we may have to organize those phone calls.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Jackie needs an assistant.
And here's why I take a lot of calls from my car. I tell folks, when I am in the space, I meet someone new. What time should I call me? Call me at 5:30 because I'm driving. I'm
Yeah.
driving. You'd be amazed at what you can do while you drive. I mean, don't tell, the
Well,
cops.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a brother in law enforcement. Don't tell him that. But
No,
yes, it's amazing what you can do. So bringing folks along the journey, that's what I'm most proud of.
that's great. Yeah. The member benefit piece, obviously that resonates for me, right? That was one of the things that got me from the beginning was you're putting together these associations who have so much value. Why would you not want to be a part of that? And then it really extends to any part now in the community, whether whether you're in membership, whether you're in government affairs, there's a purpose to bring people along, but the community, we keep coming back to that word, I know, but it sort of is the fabric, right? That is woven in here. And so if we flip it and now let's look forward, Jackie, what is, one of those goals you got out there, you have in your mind, you still want to work for, and it could be something that everybody has goals that aren't necessarily you plan to achieve, but you want to just make as much impact in that area as you can. Do you have something like that it's just a lifelong work of yours?
I don't know if I have something that's very different from anything that I'm already doing, because I have a lot of energy for someone my age, and I am continue to work on how I can create a better experience for other folks, and that's for my members, that's for my board members, it's for my staff. I mean, how do I create a professional development program that will get you the things that you need? I would say my continued lifelong goal is helping other people. And I don't think that's ever going to stop. It's something that I do probably on a daily basis. And it's so natural for me to do it, Lucas, that I don't even think about it. But I'm always in the space of how can I help someone else? How can I help in a conversation? How can I help encourage someone? I mean, I do 6,000 things a day to keep myself motivated, and how do I motivate other people? I have this app on my phone that sends me like 3 motivational messages a day, one for like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And
Okay.
and I'm always trying to figure out how to and sometimes I share them with my friends and I'm like, hey, this is what I got today. I hope this makes you feel better. So I would say my lifelong goal is to continue to help and help other folks take the journey just as well as I have.
Better together. I mean, I feel
Yes.
like I say that often in a lot of facets of the business and in life, but life's better with people in it. And, the motivation that brings around you is probably the biggest component. I join a couple of, business owner groups and like mastermind type groups. And the biggest thing that you get out of it sometimes is just to hear that other people are going through stuff too and are going through issues and you support each other. And at the end of the day, isn't that kind of what an association is, whether it's businesses or professionals, right? I mean, it's just one big therapy group in a way, right? We're all helping each other out.
100%. And I think that makes us better human beings. If you can do something for someone else, if you can be kind to someone, and it doesn't necessarily have to happen in the association community. It can happen as you're walking down the street, were you kind to the person who walked past you? If, I'm trying to think, where was I a couple of days ago? And some guy was asking for money. And first I was like, and I was like, Jackie, what's $1 going to do for you? It would
Right.
mean a lot. I mean, how are we being kind stewards of the world and of individual people? To me, is the most important thing. Both my parents have passed away, and I would say that I was so lucky because I had the nicest mom and dad, like the nicest parents, like almost to a fault. Like when I was
Yeah.
growing up, you
To a
got to
fault.
like crack down on this niceness thing because
Even
it's
a
dropped.
little bit more discipline.
But they gave me that spirit of kindness. They gave me the spirit of kindness, and I do that on everything that I do. I'm always trying to make sure that I make the next person feel good because my cup is runneth over. It is not. I don't operate in what they call it glass half empty. Mine is probably three quarters full.
Not even half full, just 3/4 full all the time.
It's probably full on most days, but how do I give some of that energy and that excitement to someone else?
Well, we didn't know each other before this interview, but I can tell you, Jackie, I've gotten that notion from you already. I could tell that your cup is spilling over. I could tell that you were filled with kindness at a young age, and you're sharing that light, with the world, and I love it. What about something, Jackie, that's not on the resume that just sort of speaks to Jackie, right? You're not going to find online. You're not going to find on your resume. What's something that's Jackie's into or that's about that really tells us about you?
You'll find that I came from a big family.
Okay.
I am, at this point, I am the oldest sibling. I had a sibling who passed away shortly more than a month ago. So my oldest brother
I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you. He was a great big brother. So while there's sadness, but there's much happiness and a lot of great memories. But you'll find that I have 30-something nieces and nephews. And most folks are like, what? Like, you're child free, and how do you have all these nieces and nephews? My brothers and sisters were busy.
Okay.
And you'll find that I am going to be that aunt that spoils them and gives them whatever they want, because my brothers and sisters tell me not to do it, and I do it anyway. And it just makes me happy to like spoil a little small person and to make them happy. So those are some of the things that you'll find. You'll find that when my friends come to my house visit, I tell them, be who you are, do whatever you want. I don't care what you wear. I don't care if you polish your nails and you're a guy. You'll find that I'm very open to folks just being their 100% self. Like, bring your full self, because I will bring my full self. So I'm going to open the door and in return and ask you to bring your full self. So you'll find that I generally love and care for just about most people. And it makes me feel good.
Not only does it make you feel good, I'm going to guess it makes you a better leader.
Yes.
And do you actively think about those traits as part of your leadership style? Do you incorporate, you probably naturally incorporate that, Jackie, into your leadership style. Do you consciously incorporate that into your style?
Maybe early on in my career, I had to do it consciously, but I think that it is probably more natural now because I have done it so often that I do it not only in my leadership style, but in my relationship with people, period. So it can be with my family. And although my family says, oh my God, you're acting like the boss of the family. And I want to say, well, I am the boss of the family. And the training happened at home. Like, they refused to believe that I learned how to be a leader from the house. And I just happened to like find a job that allowed me to be in that space.
You made me, right?
You know what, Lucas, I'm going to use that. I'm going to say, you guys made me. Like,
that's it. They did. It sounds like, you responded appropriately. It sounds like, and you are in the space you were born to be, as you said. So
yes. So I'm probably too kind to my siblings, so I almost give them everything that they want. So even if they ask me for something outrageous, I figure out how to make them happy. So I'm careful about my cup, though. I'm careful about not letting it run too far into giving folks. So I hold that. On some things for myself because I have to take care of Jackie. So I'm good at taking care of myself first so that I can be a better person for other people.
I imagine that means you've become better at saying no. That's one of those things that I've had to learn, right, in my career, is to say no. My natural tendency is, yes, that sounds great. That's an excellent opportunity. Let's do that. Let's do that. And I found in some cases, whether it be for the business or for myself, as you said, sometimes the better answer is no.
And sometimes it is. Sometimes it's that, you know what, I can't do that, or I can't do that right now.
There you go.
And what I say to folks a lot is that I don't have the energy for that, or I don't have the space for that. And there are times when I don't have energy for things, and there are times when I don't have the space for it. And I will simply say, hey, I don't have the space for it. I want to, but I don't have the space, because at the end of the day, Lucas, if we're not taking care of ourselves, we can't be great people to other people.
Yeah. In order to meet people where they are and be your best self, you have to do just that. You have to take care of yourself first so that you can take care of others right there next to it as a close second, right?
Yes.
But without that, it's not going to work. Well, Jackie, I meant what I said. We do need to hang out. We need to find that time. I'm going to come to Chicago, or next time you're in DC, look me up. I'm not far. I'm just over the river in Northern Virginia. As I often do as we wrap these up, I ask our guests, is there somebody that you would like to refer to us that you think our audience would benefit from hearing in the context of 6 degrees of association and continuing to connect our industry?
I'm going to say a few folks. I mean, I can give you a list. I can give you a ton.
I bet you can.
I'm going to start in Chicago. Artisha Moore, who is the CEO of Association Forum, is amazing. I'll chat with you about Catherine DeTomo, a colleague that I worked with at ASA, at the Association for Gastrointestinal Endoscopy. And we chatted this morning. She just landed her first CEO job. And I said, how's it going? Are you drinking from the fire hose? Jackie! Desiree Knight, Sharon Newpoint. There's just a ton of Pat Blake. She longtime mentor. Oh my God, where would I be without her?
Jackie's mentor. There you go. There's somebody.
So Michelle,
another person that made this wonderful individual. There's
all these folks have done amazing work in terms of pointing to me. Polly Undessa with the Water Quality Association. My old bosses have just been incredible folks, and they have just poured into me. And, you know, I owe it to them to be a better steward of the folks who are looking to do the same thing. So I just gave you like 6 people.
I know you just filled our show up for the next 3 months, but that's okay. We'll take it.
And I want to thank Lowell for recommending me, for referring me. He is that association person that I met at ASAE, and we connected, and he has just done some amazing things to help me build my career in terms of honing in on my speaking and group facilitation experience and expertise. And I love that he's a quiet storm, because he is amazing, and he is indeed about it, but he moves mountains. So yes.
Yeah, agreed. He'll be there, I believe, at ASAE again. He may be speaking, and I definitely want to come check out your session as well when I'm down there in Atlanta this year. So, Jackie, it was such a pleasure having you on. Thank you for the time and for joining us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Lucas. It was amazing. I appreciate you.